Hey everyone, Sycra here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to draw armor, and specifically medieval armor. Now, I know one of the hardest things about armor is that it just looks extremely complicated, and so I'm going to do my best to simplify it. Now, some of the terms I'm going to use for the armor, I've done a bit of research, but I might pronounce words wrong, so please forgive me. From what I can tell, most of the words are French, so I'm going to try my best to pronounce things well. And something else I found was that different armors have different components to them. So I might show you one way armor might have been made, but I'm sure there's lots of different armor types out there. So basically what I have going on right now is I'm just drawing a body, and that's just gonna, it's important to get the body down first because you're putting armor on top of a body. I wouldn't recommend starting out by drawing a head and then the neck and then building armor straight from that. I would really recommend you start out with a frame, at least a basic frame of a body, and then put the armor over that, because you have to remember that armor does go over a human body. So what I sometimes see is people don't do that, and then what happens is the armor, if you actually so they just draw the armor, and then if you put in a skeleton or muscles underneath, like a human body underneath, you'll find that at some places the armor actually would technically cut into the body, so it doesn't work at all. So it's very important to get the body down first. Okay, so when I drew in the body, I did that in time-lapse, so it's going to be a bit faster than the real time. But now I'll do everything in real time, and I just wanted to save time so you don't have to watch things unnecessarily. But I do think for the rest of it, it's probably going to be helpful to see it in real time as opposed to time-lapse, so I'm going to do that, and hopefully it's the right decision. Okay, so to begin with, I'm going to draw in a doublet, or since if we're going to do in French, doublé. And you could just have a regular tunic, I suppose. And I'm going to do specifically an arming doublet. And the reason, or the difference between an arming doublet and a regular one is that arming doublets have these like string things that you can use to actually attach the armor. So just going to start by drawing in the doublet itself, and I'm giving it this kind of collar. It's like got a little V to it, and drawing in the center line, and I'm making sure everything is fitting over the skin. Very important. So this is going to be the top. And most of these seem to be pretty basic because it's going to be covered by armor. But you could get, some trim here, like silver or gold trim. It could get more fancy, and then you'd have your you could have your strings that attach. It makes me think of, I don't know, I think it's called like a garter belt. And so let's just give him pants, and this is pretty skin tight. So There we go. There's the doublet. Alright, so next we're gonna put on the shoes, which are called sabatons. And kind of weird, but some are very pointy. And I'm going to start with the toe area of the shoe, because this has like plates and it allows you to move in them. So you start at the front and then you go back. And then there's usually a hinge on one side and a strap on the other. So I'm going to put the strap here. And so what happens is this part, like, let me just draw it, kind of opens up where the heel is. And then it's got like a strap here, and you have a buckle, and then that connects around. Then this connects to that, and you've got this part. So this is the heel part, if that makes sense. So that's that, and then the same thing on the other side. And you want to make sure you have room for the ankle. So here. And it's pretty common in Armour to get this kind of thing where you have hinges and straps, and then you also have these studs that connect them. So it's very common to have these components. And I'll do the other side. And I'm just darkening the areas that overlap to give the impression of shadow. Alright, so those are the sabatons. Okay, next come the greaves. So these overlap the sabaton, and they go pretty much just under the knee. So what I'm doing is, you'll notice I do kind of like an ellipse. So this is called drawing through the form. So I'm actually getting the form of this. I'm not just going to do this, like if I just did that, because that isn't giving me the feeling of that form. I actually want to go, around, and I'm darkening one side so I can tell, which part is darker and which part is lighter, which part would show up rather. So normally I would do this a little bit more light, and so just below the knee, and it's going to go all the way down. And this one actually wraps on both sides, and then it's got the same thing with the strap. So and take this down, and then, as I said, it goes over this, so there's going to be a bit of overlap. There's going to be some overlap there. And this is pretty smooth compared to, you know, this one with the plates, because you don't need that many plates. You could put them there, but these are for movement. So what you do need, though, is to indicate where the two sides join, and then you probably have a strap and a hinge where it connects, and on this side as well. So those are the greaves. Okay, next we have the cuisse and the polance. So cuisse means thigh, and basically it just comes up the thigh, and then the polance cover the knee. But a lot of times the polance are actually attached to the cuisse, so I guess I'll do that for this one. And so there's a few different types of designs for this, and it's covering the knee, and it's basically like this shape, pretty much, almost like a circle, but then it can have, and then it has like a strap that goes around like that. So I mean, that's like the super simple version of what it is, and then this is like the center. It protects the knee, but you can get parts that come up, and then this sometimes connects to the cuisse, or sometimes it's just short, and then sometimes you get like a long part that comes down as well. Sometimes they have like an attachment here, and this part, when it comes down, it's called like a demi-greave, I think. So anyway, basically there's a lot of different ways of doing this one. So now with the cuisse, it doesn't go the whole way around, actually. It tends to just stick in the front, and then a little bit might go behind the leg. But it's not the same as the greaves that have like two parts that go the whole way around. So if you were to stab someone in the back of the thigh, it's a potential vulnerable spot, but I'm sure there's probably versions that do go the whole way around. But not ones that I saw. So the ones I saw all just cover the front, and I'm giving it like a triangular shape up top, and then I'm gonna bring it down into the polance. And I'm gonna have it overlap, actually. I'm gonna have it overlap the greaves. So again, I'm thinking a lot about the form, trying to keep that nice and round. And then where it connects, anytime they connect, they usually have like little studs and things, so it's a good idea to include those. I can just add some parts here. And then of course you're going to need straps to connect it. Have those going around. And then for this one, maybe you see it on this side, a strap, but you don't see it on this side because this is facing more forward. And something like that. Just want to correct some things. I think I'm going to make this sharp. Like that. And then make that a bit longer. All right. Now for the foo or full, I don't know how to pronounce it. So just getting like an ellipse for the waist, and then this shape, it's going to cover the hips and it's going to cover this area too. So I'm going to create a shape kind of like this. Let's start with the two ellipses and then I connect them. So get that in, and then get the wider one. And this is going to be just the guide of where I'm going to put it. So I'm blocking out this area. And it's got like a lip to it that comes out, goes around, and then it's broken into a few plates. So the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to draw a center line, and then I'm going to bring out the plates like that. There we go. And sometimes you get tassets here, or tesse, and so I'm going to put those down, connect them, and then I'll have some studs. And then on the side, it's going to have straps connecting them and buckles and stuff. So it's going to indicate where those go. And then I can just strengthen what I already have. So you start off pretty simple with just these basic shapes, and then kind of get more complicated as you go. Just break it down into more and more complicated shapes. And I'm gonna add a little bit of shadow being cast so that we can get more of a feeling of what's on top of what. Just a bit of a cast shadow. So that's on top of that, and then this is on top of this, so a little shadow here. And could have this actually split and then have it connected with studs and stuff. So, you know, you can just put these details wherever you want. I mean, within reason, you gotta have, it's gotta make some degree of sense, but a lot of this is just helped by detailing, and you can just get as detailed as you want, especially with things like trim. Maybe later on I'll put some more trim, or I could start indicating some trim here around the edges, and that's gonna define the form as well, because you have to follow around the form. And here, if I put some trim, Alright. Okay, next I'm gonna put on the standard. So basically this is going to be the chainmail, and depending on what suit of armor you're wearing, this can vary. Some chainmail goes all the way down, can even go, you know, below the waist. Some doesn't. Sometimes it's just, you know, around the, you know, shoulder area. So gonna give it that kind of chainmail. So I go over the doublet and I think I'm going to actually darken in some of the tunic, or I mean the doublet, sorry, just to distinguish it from what isn't that. So this is the chainmail, and this is all still going to be a doublet. And we can have some trim on this as well. And some shadow. Alright, now for the cuirass. So, I'm gonna erase out where that goes. And it kind of connects to the fold. So, and then it's got, okay, so it's got a front plate and then a back plate. And then they're joined on the side, so you'll need that where they join. And this is gonna go over the standard. Just filling in the mail right now. And we can have some straps here on the side. And can also design some kind of patterns as well for how this can be separated into plates. Let's say there's like a plate that comes up like that. And then have a plate maybe coming around like that. I don't know. Alright, so that's the front plate, and then of course there's going to be, you need to attach it here as well. So you have straps there and then straps there, and maybe like a buckle as well you could include, and could have studs as well going around. And I'm just going to make it go over the foam. So something like that. Okay, so now we have the upper cannon, and it's also called the rear brace, and that comes around here. And again, this is one of the things that doesn't go the whole way around, so covers the outside of the arm, and then you have straps that go around, and on the opposite side as well. And then you have the lower cannon, which is also called the van brace. And this one, seen both where some go all the way around and some go, you know, just like the top one where it's just strapped. So the one that would go all the way around is similar to the greaves. And I'm going to do one that goes all the way around. And add the straps. And then, protecting the shoulder, you have the coute. And it's similar to the pommage for the knee pads, and it's gonna go around. So if I draw through the form, basically I'm drawing, it's like a circle, and then it's got an area that comes around like this, if this is the side view, and then, you know, this is the other side. Then you'll have a strap that connects around. So kind of goes around like that. That makes sense. And then I've seen different kinds as well. Like some parts have this go pretty high and some of them have it split. You just get a lot of different designs, so you know, you can experiment with that and just look at different armors. But I think the important thing in all these armors is more just to get a sense of what's what and why is it there. So what's its function? So for instance, this function is to protect the elbow. So you need something to protect the elbow. So then it's less important actually about, you know, how it looks, because there's so many different designs, and it's more important that you just have something there that fills that need. And often they'll have like a thing attached, like, I don't know if it's just for decoration, but it's kind of attached to the side. And so I'll just include that. We've got that. And the part I'm darkening is the doublet underneath, where it still shows. So this is the exposed area. So now here's the last few exposed areas, the head and the shoulders. And the hands. Okay, so now we have the pauldron, which covers the shoulder. So I'm gonna erase out a spot for that. And again, the designs vary a lot. So I guess look for reference and find what you like, and then base it off that. Gonna make these pretty big. And maybe there's a part that goes up and around. And give it a trim. And now here's something I have to watch out for. I have to make sure that this is going, you know, over this clothing. And this is the kind of thing I was talking about, which is that, you know, the tendency is to just put this in without thinking that, hey, wait a minute, that doesn't work. So pauldron is more modern, and you could also just have spalders, which are, they cover the shoulder, but not the whole thing like this. They don't go all the way around. They just kind of look like something like that. And you could include both. And I'm gonna add a cut line in these. And there's a lot of detail you can add in terms of cut lines and studs or belts. You know, you can add lots of stuff. So Okay, so that's that. Gonna add a bit of a cast shadow. Okay, now we'll do the helmet. So we can do it's called a bassinet, and they have different shapes. Some are like pointy at the top, and some are more round. So you got that, and then you have the visor. So visor connects to that, and actually I'm gonna adjust the helmet because it's a bit tall. So right now it's like an open helm, and then I add the visor. And it's going to be a closed helm. And some helms have like parts where you can attach chain, like chainmail. And again, there's so many different types of helmets. So let's see, which one should I make this? Just gonna make it like type that split down. Like so. And maybe there's some trim. And all this is going to be in shadow. And then just the gauntlets. So for the gauntlets, I'm going to start by going around the form. And then these are pretty intricate. So for each finger you have armor over each joint, and then you have the glove part of it. So it gets pretty complex in there. And as usual, you can have, you know, all sorts of trim. And pretty much that's it. And yeah. Alright, and real quick, I'm just gonna add a bit of color to this. So I'm just gonna get like a grayish tone. And this is just on a layer underneath the drawing layer. And I'm just being messy because I just want to show you what you can do quickly. So just put in some gray, and I lock the layer, so I lock the transparency of that. Now I'm just bringing up gradient with my brush, and I'm going to change my brush mode to overlay. I'm going to get a light color, and I'm going to put in some highlights, and overlay works pretty good for stuff like this to get that metallic feel to things. And you can do the same thing with darks, and I could even, you know, add a bit of skin showing in there, and then just get your darks and, you know, block those in as well. And it's a contrast between light and dark that makes things look metal. If you have a lot of contrast, it means it's probably pretty shiny. So again, that's pretty dirty, but just doing it quickly. And you can add some trim as well. So let's say he has like a bit of gold trim. Can just block that in. And again, I'm doing this really messy and really quick. But I think you get the idea. So I hope it helped, and thanks for watching.